Hi, everybody. I'm hitting lights off. I'm sorry. I'm seeing where the camera is. Usually I would have something um, better. It doesn't matter. Hi, I'm Janelle J. Wilson, and I have already started my podcast. We're going to get free today. I'm going to make sure that I release those on Monday and Wednesdays. I do have a full-time job, so I would try to get them up either in the morning or at night, depending on when I finish it. I'll work on them on my time off. I just want to do this kind of we're going to get free today quickie um, podcast before I leave out because I just kind of saw that NRA video in response to Flando Castile, and I was like, wow, okay, so after everything that we went through and the whole nature of the shooting and everything that happened with him and how he followed all the rules, and we've been asking why isn't NRA saying anything because he did the rules. That was the response. And so my thing is, when I work in my corporate jobs, they always show this video to us, and it's called Run, Hide, Fight. And that video teaches us basically how to what to do in the event that our building or something gets attacked, or if someone comes in. And it sounded like with the video they were trying to say that we're in some kind of state of war. And for me, when I look at my history, when I look at my people, I look at the fact that we've always had a civil rights movement. We have never attacked or come against the people who have oppressed us with the same amount of force as they have. In fact, we've never instituted any form of war. Yes, we've had some uprisings and revolutions and some, lives were shed, but it's never been at the level as what you've seen in the entire history that we've had. We've always tried to be civil, and we always get war thrown back at us. And I recognize when I'm in certain forums, I'll hear so many different commentaries, both from every generational group. And it seems like we're all a little divided and on the fence because we've all had various experiences in the system. So everybody's looking at each other from their perspective. But it seems like we're not all on one accord just yet with what's going on. We feel the tension of the time, but we're still not all on one accord just yet. So this quick podcast, I just want to kind of send out some kind of message saying, I think it's time for us to reestablish our virtual village. And this is not me taking shots or pointing fingers at us as a people. I'm saying this from the place of our healing. We have to heal. I know we have to heal as a people. But what I'm saying is, it's time for us to reestablish our village and heal. Because based on what I'm getting from this video, they're looking at our protests, they're looking at the things that we're talking about as far as saying, just stop killing us, stop allowing these things to happen, and that we're getting no justice as we need to reclaim order. And it's like, what? How are you getting that? So clearly, I'm trying not to say, there is an agenda because I'm not trying to get on this whole conspiracy theorist tip. But I've looked at my history, and every group that has rised up, it seems like the opposing group bombs it down. You get Black Wall Street, that narrative. Black people, pull your bootstraps up. And, well, hello, right out of Reconstruction, we built Black Wall Street, and we were doing just fine. Right when we were about to, what were we about to? Right when we were about to start, um, having contracts out of the country, we get bombed. And people had to flee and run. I had family members. My people are from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I have one group that's from Tulsa. When I think of certain organizations, and then I think about all the infiltrations that happened, and so I'm just like, what do we have to do? Underground, the newly canceled show Underground. And I'm so grateful for that show. And I think we need to figure out how we're going to get that back on the air. Either we do Netflix, either we do a GoFundMe and do like how Black and Sexy TV does. And we just pay into it and they put up an episode every week or something. They got to finish that story. And I think it's very important for the time. And I'm sorry that the camera's moving. I usually have something that I hold it up with, but I'm trying to get out of here. But I wanted to share this thought before I left. They released that episode Minty on Harriet Tubman, and what I appreciate is they breathed life into Harriet Tubman's story. So often we get a wash of our history and a wash over what happened before we got here, and the fact that they want to put Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill, that it's just like another symbolic meaning. another. And when I say that, I know some people from the generation before are looking at me like, well, don't have that vain mentality. All their efforts were in vain. It's like, no, their efforts were not so we can have a false utopia and take pictures side by side with someone of another race, like, oh, this is erasing racism. No, erasing racism is so that all of us can have a fair shot and be free and not get shot down in the street and nothing happen. And then the NRA turns around and releases these videos and acts like we're the ones with the problem. You know, I've talked to baby boomers, and a lot of baby boomers have said, I feel like we're going back to the times I grew up in. That's what the tension is feeling like. And I pay attention. I listen to my village. I listen to my elders. I was born in Generation X. So, no, I didn't live during Jim Crow, but I remember the residue. I remember every time I say, I wish I was born in the 70s. And what I was saying was, I saw the residue of what that looked like. I saw the climate of my culture and how even though everything was now subtle, the racism was subtle, some factories were open and some were shut down, some communities looked a particular way, we were all kind of still in a segregated space, but not. It was like pseudo-segregated, but not. And I could tell that something went down before I got here. And everybody was living in some fake sunken place, like we just had a movement and we all just trying to get it together. So I remember that time. And then I remember the next, infiltration. I remember when the censorship changed. I remember when drugs came onto the scene. I remember mass incarcerations. I remember the years of 87 and 92 when people were getting shot left and right and drugs. I remember seeing families ripped up. I remember that time. I remember when my millennials were born in the midst of that mess. And to know that, my government had a little bit of a hand in that while we were sedating in the Reagan economics era and everybody had a Beamer and stuff. I remember. So what I'm saying is, I think it's time for us Black people to develop our virtual village. And I say virtual because at first I was like, maybe we need to unite, have a meeting, sit down, talk. And I'm like, no, we need to have some kind of virtual village. And I'm not saying that from a place of electronics. I'm saying that from a place of, we need to have a universal code of, we are now a village again. And I want our baby boomers to begin to express their wisdom and have a safe space and the freedom to share their stories about what they experienced. Because I do recognize that some of our baby boomers and their parents were shamed into silence from their experiences. I remember David Banner said in one of his panels, it's sad that we couldn't get some of their stories of their experiences on tape so we could learn the information and understand what we're experiencing now, because we need it now for our generation. And so what I need from my baby boomers is to not look at us from the place of, well, you're not living in a time that we did where you had the actual codes on the walls and stuff like that, so it's not that bad. That's not fair. And the reason why I'm saying it's not fair is because this that we're living in is not normal either. No, it's not the way it was where it was blatant and people were hanging from trees. But our young youth and babies are being shot in the street. A young 18-year-old girl was just shot in her car. They're labeling it road rage. But I know when I see something that don't smell right. When I read that article, I said, this don't even sound right. And when I saw the man that did it, I said, this don't even sound right. A little girl got hit in the head with a bat and was killed. And I said, that don't even sound right. And then when you look at from Trayvon Martin all the way to Philando Castile and all the people that have been hurt in between, at what point do we stop saying what we went through back there is not compared to what you're going through? If we're not there, we're almost there. And if we keep allowing it, it's going to get worse. Remember, I'm from Generation X. I remember. I had to study. I know I didn't live it. I just dealt with residue. I've only dealt with subtle racism. Yeah, I've had some blatant experiences, and I respect your struggle. But what I'm asking is that we all get on one page. And then I want my Generation Xers, the people that are my generation, I'm at the tail end of Generation X. So I want my Generation X to be like that channel between the baby boomers and the millennials. Since we remember that time, but when it was the analog age and before certain infiltrations happened, but we also know and understand the time in the midst of all the different epidemics and the digital age, so we can communicate. Because I know when you get a baby boomer and a millennial in the same room, sometimes they can't connect. Sometimes they can't even, and right now we have to, because our millennials are our soft targets. Heck, some of our Generation X's are also our targets. I'm hearing too many stories of pregnant women, young teenage boys, mothers. I live in the valley, so it's really hot out here right now, and I'm sorry that I'm sweating. Soft targets being attacked. And everybody's been pushing the NRA to say something about the Philando Castile, and this is their response? Get order? Like we're out of order? So what I'm asking is that we all kind of get on one accord. And then, I'm sorry, I'm dropping my camera. I don't like holding it. Usually I have something, but I'll make sure I do that next time. And then I need for my millennials to be kind of like, yeah, you're our youth. You are our I guess, I don't know if you're the word is forerunners or not, but you are our youth. You are our hands, our feet, our legs. You are the generation that will take us to that promised land. You are the promise. But what I'm seeing in our media right now is we still have our psychosis. What Kodak Black just did, what I hear that's coming out of the media of our people, what Kodak Black did, and I'm actually working on the podcast for tonight, and I'm going to deep more into that, but I'll spread this a little bit. That's psychosis. And see, I lived in the colorism 80s. That was some of the residue. And I know where all of that comes from. But the fact that he still talks like that in 2017 lets me know we have not gotten free. Colorism is a symptom of supremacy. So if we're still dealing with our symptoms of supremacy, yes, we still have an issue with light skin, dark skin. I see that all the time on boards. We still dealing with light skin, dark skin? Yeah, because we haven't healed from anything. We just keep we keep doing the symbolic meaning thing and then taking that as, oh, we got a victory. No, that's not a victory. We've been bamboozled, we've been tricked. And I don't mean to be so truthful. I don't mean to be so maybe the word is, I don't mean to be so blunt. I mean to be truthful. I don't mean to be so blunt. And I know that my bluntness and my sense of urgency catches some people off guard. I've always expected some people not to understand where I'm coming from, but some of my oppositions come from my own people, and I recognize that's going to happen because I'm going to go into some details about what type of Black people we all are, but we got to get on the same page here. Yes, enjoy your life. Yes, do the best you can with the life we have. But right now, we are moving into some type of state of danger, and we need to wake up and pay attention because we can't fight it individually anymore. This is not an individual problem. This is a collective issue. When I mention every culture, now no other culture has endured chattel slavery and all the different movements that have come against putting us together. It is unfair what has happened to us. But right now, we have to make a collective agreement that we're going to heal from it, regardless of who did it. We know they did it to us, but right now we got to heal. I want us to form some kind of rehabilitation, some form of rehabilitation center, some form of rehabilitation something specifically, exclusively for Black people so that we can heal, so that we can move again. We've already built Black Wall Street, and I'm telling you, in the 20s, they were booming. They were doing better than society outside. That's why they made us integrate in the first place. It's always been about our money. So I'm going to stop here because it's going a little longer, but I need our baby boomers, our Generation Xers, and our millennials to all get on one accord. We have to become that village again. I need all of us to start exchanging information across the board. Because I see us all, we're trying to fight this entity, but we're doing it separately, and it's not going to work. We're a hand. And I'm going to have to use that soul food analogy. We can't do nothing doing this, but if we all get together and do this, we're going to pump our black fist, and go boom. You know what I'm saying? That's the village. And I'm not talking about we're creating a war. I'm talking about it's a form of protecting yourself. Being vigilant is saying, abuser, you can't attack me anymore, and meaning it. We gotta sit down and reevaluate how. Okay, boycotts and protests? Fine. Since you don't want us to do that no more, how about we deal with our economics? And we can move collectively that way. So until lions tell their tale, the story will only glorify the hunter. I'm Chanel J. Wilson, and excuse my colloquial euphemism, but we are going to get free today. Have a good day.